So as a follow-up on last week's healing technique, Lou has requested that we focus the healing on animals. We all know that the earth is always in need of healing. And in fact, now that he reminds me, it's something of a tradition around here that we do solstice healing, or that we do planetary healing with Archangel Ariel and sometimes Archangel Raphael, but always with Archangel Michael. And then in addition to that, I have had a look at the students in this group, and everybody, without exception, everybody in this group is highly intuitive and perfectly capable of using their intuitive intelligence in their daily lives, along with a wonderful dollop of awareness. The one thing that I have noticed is that very few people in the group are working to be in a relationship with their guides. And although I get told that people want to have this relationship with their guides and they want to get to know their guides better and they want to work with their guides, nobody's really doing that work. So even when we're here in this meditation room or we're in other sessions, I am the one speaking to everybody's guides, while everybody else is letting that relationship happen through me. So today's meditation, I want to continue the healing, but I also want to become more interactive with guides while we're in these sessions, so that the relationship with Spirit becomes a stronger one and becomes one that you can depend on more in your daily awareness. And before I move into that, I just want to be very clear that like all relationships, the relationship with spiritual masters and the relationships with angels and the relationships with guides, the relationship with Shiv, comes with criteria. It comes with a specific set of requirements. Like all relationships that you experience on the physical plane, it demands a level of integrity. The higher the vibration you want to work with, the higher the level of integrity you must bring to the relating. You may take it for granted reasonably, based on spiritual law, that what Spirit brings to the relationship is unconditional love. And love is the word we use for every possible frequency of positive energy, or word that you may choose to describe it by. What you bring to the relationship, being a limited ego human doing, as well as a practicing soul being, is up to you. You have to make a commitment to work with the utmost integrity. Where we have the hindrances of superstition, religious beliefs that negate a direct relationship with Spirit, or places Spirit into a shadow space of being the devil, makes it very difficult for us to remain in integrity with Spirit and to maintain that relationship. And the reason integrity is the cornerstone is because you cannot, let me emphasize this, you cannot lie to Spirit. You cannot lie to the universe, because the universe agrees with everything you bring to it unconditionally. It acknowledges and respects free will. So when you bring a lie to Spirit in any one of its frequencies, the only being you are actually surrounding with the bind or the karmic effect of a lie is yourself. The unconditional space that Spirit lives in is not impacted by a lie. Spirit doesn't have ego issues of trusting or not trusting You in your relationship with it or its relationship with you. You are the one with issues of trust. Trusting yourself, trusting spirit, trusting others, trusting the flow of the universe, whatever it is that issue is, spirit doesn't have it. It is an issue of the duality. It is an issue of the ego plane. It is an issue of the grand illusion of control on the planet. So spirit comes with what we call integrity, but really it isn't even an issue for them. So they just bring unconditional loving to the space, and what you bring to it determines the level at which that relationship happens. It is by and large an asexual relationship. Spirit is full of light and a wonderful sense of humor, and they take human concerns seriously enough to address them as weighty issues and to give guidance on them. But they don't take them so seriously that it becomes a be-all and end-all of your very existence. By the same token, they don't take it so lightly that you do not feel as if what matters to you is immaterial in the world. So spirit has the capacity to balance their perspective or their understanding of where you are in your life in the context of where you are coming from and where you are going to. Even if they do not reveal all of the details, the understanding they bring to the relationship is in that context, outside of the duality. Your relationship with spirit is in the context of the duality. It is in the context of your past and an unknown future, which leaves a great room for doubt and fear to play its little ego games in the relating. Spirit is not available to be manipulated. You cannot purport to have a relationship with spirit without experiencing some kind of backfiring of that energy, because it is a violation of spiritual law. And of all of the laws that rule creation, spiritual law is the highest of those, higher even than any of the man-made laws that vary from nation to nation, and religious laws that vary from religion to religion, and cultural laws that vary from culture to culture. Spiritual law is the grand equalizer that makes all souls equal. So in our relationship with spirit, we have spiritual laws to maintain that relationship. Integrity, stemming from trust preferably, but a level of doubt is all right. Spirit makes great allowances for doubt and will validate information, will emphasize information, will even ensure that you get the same message constantly and consistently in order to ensure that you get it eventually. Perhaps one of the most telling things about my relationship with spirit is that I very rarely want anything. I remember a few years ago, Charmaine and I were sitting in a session, and Shirdi Baba's showing me this. And we were talking about what could we possibly want. And neither of us wanted anything. Like all human brain thinkers, we could make a list if we needed to, if we had to, but still there was nothing that came to mind. We had reached a point of having a relationship with spirit for the sheer joy of it, for the sheer liberation of it, for the expansion of it, for the love of it. It's a completely different relationship than the usual one where people want to have a relationship with their guides for the guidance. They want to have a relationship with spiritual masters to demonstrate their own spiritual mastery on the planet. Or they want a relationship with angels to make sure that their pathway is smoothed out and taken care of. And in the Western understanding of spiritual frequencies and the spiritual realm, we have been taught to call upon spirit as if they are servants to the life on earth. They are in fact a beautiful, loving support system. And like the nicest, most generous of people you know, spirit will in fact turn cartwheels in the heavens to support you. But the basis of the relationship is not what do you want or what do you need or how can they make your life better or easier or less challenging. The basis of the relationship is one of soul to soul, that we are in fact one. There by the grace of God go I, and anything you require to live your best possible self is given. Even before you ask. It took a long time for me to understand that that was the basis of the relationship with spirit that leads to enlightenment. That I had to feel and know my oneness with it so that I don't even have to think about being intuitive. I don't have to think about whether I open my mouth and the truth comes forth or not. I don't have to think about whether I trust spirit. I don't have to think about whether my healing is going to work or not, because I know that even as I intend it, my intention has come from somewhere, that the magic and the miracle of it is already at work. I live on a pathway spirit goes before me. That the pathway is because my relationship with spirit is. So if you are going to have this daily relationship with your guides, start by remembering that they see you naked, completely and utterly naked, physically. When you are farting, or doing your business, or brushing your teeth, or showering, or making tea, or dancing in the dark, and you all know what that means, they see you naked. They see you naked emotionally, and they see that thought that is under the thought, and that is under the other thought. So they see you naked mentally. And of course, they see you in all of your powerful glory spiritually. When I speak to your guides, I get a limited view, intended only to serve your highest good at this point. This does not mean that they do not engage with the rest of you, the best and the worst of you at all times. So part of the work or the practice of living with spirit and having this relationship is to wake up every day and go to sleep every night knowing you are in this presence and interacting with it as a tangible presence at your back, at your elbow, in your eyes, in your ears, in every breath you take. I remember a time where I was told to smell, to breathe in deeply and smell the presence of spirit. And in this center, I am not the nose. Charmaine is the nose that knows. She can smell a biryani gone off 2 kilometers away. So we know that if Spirit tells me to breathe in and smell, they had best be putting something in the air for me to actually smell. Or that's what my brain knew. But part of that practice was the breathing in and feeling how the frequency of my body shifted, of how the frequency of my auric field bodies shifted, because I had inhaled a new feeling. I had inhaled a new frequency. I had almost inhaled Spirit itself. And with a new awareness, a consciousness of doing that, everything shifts. So I didn't get a smell, but I got a feeling, and I had a sense of something changing inside of me. Each and every one of us has different extrasensory perceptual tools that we bring to this relationship with the so-called intangible. And yet the intangible is making itself tangible in 100 million ways every day. So at the Tuesday meditation, I talked about the practice of being mindful and connecting your solar plexus and your thinking every time you see a triple number somewhere. Every time you see a triple number, check, what was I thinking? What is my brain going on about without my awareness? And catch yourself. In exactly the same way, you can use exactly the same technique to check in with your guides. Ask, are you there? Are you present? And of course, they're not going to get sick and tired of saying yes. But you might occasionally hear some personality self going, like we were here the last 5 minutes when you checked, We're still here. Where did you go? We're still here. Because they have a sense of humor. And when you start hearing voices in your head, well, Fort Napier exists for a reason, but you're not it. So feel free to hear the voices in your head and write it down. Don't feel free, please. Do not feel free to think that the voices in your head are now supposed to be uttered out loud and ensure your place at Fort Napier. Write it down. Get into a practice. Make sure that you are establishing within yourself a sense of responsibility and accountability for your relationship with Spirit. Because that's next on the list of criteria. A relationship with Spirit, as it pertains to anyone outside of you in your world, comes with great responsibility. To use the voices of Spirit in service. To use the voices of Spirit in service on this plane is to be an act of God. Do not take it lightly. It may even require the sacrifice of your entire life to live it well. Do not take it lightly. Do not presume to know the minds and hearts of others until you have aligned your own with God in all of its forms and frequencies that are so generously given that you may become an act of God. So we encourage you to live this relationship, to engage with it on a daily basis, in your daily activities. Invite Spirit to engage with you in everything that you're doing, to talk to you while you are working, to talk to you while you are driving, to accompany you on your social events. Take to sharing your life with Spirit exactly as you would a beloved companion. Let us meditate.